Welcome back to Global Connections. My name is Roger and my co-presenter today for part 2 of this series is Jasmine.
Thank you, Roger. Hi folks, with consideration to choosing your flight school in this second series we will be looking at ground school, training aircraft, flight instructors and costs.
Don't overlook ground school. Learning to fly requires that you obtain the ability to manipulate the controls of the airplane and make it perform certain maneuvers. However, there is another aspect of learning to fly, and that is the academic knowledge required to understand how, where, and when to fly safely. This is accomplished in ground school.
Ground school takes two basic forms, an instructor teaching a scheduled class or a self-paced, home study program using video or audio tapes or a computer-based program.
Which is better depends on you. If you're a self-disciplined self-starter, the self-paced video programs can't be beat. You can attend ground school on your schedule and review the tapes as needed. If you need the discipline of the classroom, well, the choice is obvious. Perhaps the best option is a combination of the two. Many schools have a traditional classroom ground school and a resource room that contains self-paced materials for additional study.
Many local community colleges or independent ground schools are also an option. Although technically not part of ground school, instrument ground trainers or simulators are being used by a number of schools in primary training, and they are a real benefit in instrument training.
After ground school and before you can take your federal aviation flight test with a designated pilot examiner, you must take and pass 70% or better and federal aviation airman knowledge tested and approved computer testing site. A growing number of schools offer FAA-approved computer testing as part of their services.
Training aircraft. The training airplane is where you practice in the air what you've learned on the ground. High wing or low, it doesn't make much difference. What's important is how well the airplane is equipped and maintained. It's also important that the school's trainers are dedicated to training and not to rental.
How many trainers a school has depends on the number of active students. Generally speaking, one trainer serves 4 or 5 full-time students. This ratio may be higher with part-time students. Another consideration is the fleet's mix of primary, advanced, and multi-engine trainers.
Because trainers are flown often and sometimes hard, how our school maintains its training fleet is important for both safety and scheduling. Asking questions about maintenance policies and procedures should be part of every school interview.
Flight instructors. A good flight instructor is important because your life will depend on what he or she teaches you. Don't hesitate to ask questions about the training and experience of the flight instructors. You might ask what the average flight time is and what the pass-fail rate is among the instructors. A pass rate of 100% doesn't indicate good instruction. You might also talk to some of the other students at the school to ask about their flight instructors.
Your primary instructor should be at least a certificated flight instructor instrument. Ensure that your instrument instructor has an instrument instructor rating CFII. Instrument training received from a non-rated instructor can cause problems when it comes to meeting federal aviation requirements.
A good way to get acquainted with your instructor is to take an introductory lesson, not just a demonstration ride. During your lesson, assess your instructor's attitude. Only you can determine what personality best fits yours, but you want an instructor who expects perfection, who will work with you until it's achieved, and who cares about you as a person as well as a student.
The cost compared with most of your current activities, learning to fly is expensive. But remember, you're investing in your education, in skills that will open new worlds and opportunities. Flying is an activity of purpose, productivity, and pleasure. It's also a never-ending learning process, and as with all education, your initial training provides the foundation for all that will follow.
Looking at the bottom line, you'll notice that, adjusting for location and differences in training programs, flight schools more or less charge about the same. Only you can determine if what you get for your money is fair. As with any other major purchase, if a deal seems too good to be true, it usually is.
When comparing costs, make sure you're comparing apples with apples. Some schools base their prices on the federal aviation minimum time requirements, such as 40 hours for a private certificate. Others base their prices on a more realistic figure that's the average of what their students accomplish. Some include books and supplies, ground school, flight testing and federal aviation written examination fees. Others don't. In other words, read the fine print and ensure you making a comparison of equals.
Because most schools require partial or full payment before training begins, financing your flight training, especially if you are in a professional pilot program, will be your greatest challenge. Some schools offer financing, and most have financing and loan information. Pennsylvania, for example, offers its Flight Funds loan program to its qualified members. Schools also offer block time prices if you pay for a certain amount of training or flight time in advance, which can often offer substantial savings.
Some schools guarantee their training that you learn your certificate for a fixed price no matter how long it takes. Read the fine print carefully, because many of these guarantees expire after so many flight hours. If you haven't achieved your goal in this time, the school will still train you, but you'll have to pay for the training that takes place above the guarantee's ceiling.
Also inquire about refunds. Most schools require that you pay for part or all of your training in advance, which prevents you from training and running before the bills are paid. But if you must stop training for some reason, you should know if and how much of your money will be refunded.
Unless your instructor's fees are part of a package price program, note how you are charged for his or her educational services and how much you charged for aircraft rental. Aircraft rental and the instructor time are usually charged by the Hobbs meter, which is a timing device activated by oil pressure. If the engine is running, so is the meter. Even if you're sitting on the ground, you still charged for it.
Also learn if the instructor is paid for pre- and post-flight briefings in addition to flight time. These are crucial parts of every lesson, and if the instructor is not paid for them, you may get abbreviated briefings before you start the engine, and then get the rest of the briefing while the engine and the meter are running.
There's an old saying that says, time is money. In your research, make sure that you're getting the best quality training for your dollar.
That's it for now, folks. For further information, please visit our website at flygc.info.
Yes, global connections,
where aviation matters. Thank you.